actually, I mentioned that I would love to meet you, but around that time, because time was really moving fast. Remember, we met 2010 and 2011. And this lady is not growing any younger, and I'm thinking like, you know, I love her, but I'm wasting her time. And actually mentioned to one of my friends that, you know, because we are too close and friends, guys were asking, when are you guys getting married? When are you guys forming a family? And that thing was kind of stressing because you will want it, but nature does not allow it at that particular time. But when we just sat down with the pastor, I just kind of expressed myself and expressed my situation, and I actually said, you know, Mali nimefika, the place I am in right now, if Grace gets a good husband, I'll be the chairman of the committee. I will support her, do everything, because I don't see any future. This is so many years keeping her waiting. And it's not like it's something clear. We never courted, and we are like, we want the best out of each other and we love to be together. But this is not happening. So if somebody else comes, and the major thing was the financial background, because weddings weddings are associated with a lot of funds and all. But at the same time, also we don't have careers that are quite clear, personally from my end. So yeah. So I was like, when I was sharing with my pastor, and my pastor was like, no, that should not be the case. You know, Pastor Martin, I love that man of God. And he just mentioned, when are you guys planning the wedding? We will support you. When are you guys, please start planning the wedding. So while we were just speaking, he triggered something in my heart, and he said, I'll make sure that you get the consent from the church, so that at least you go introduce yourself to your parents. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this thing is going too fast. I'm not even sure that then, because I don't know, your people had approached you.
No, that was not even an issue. By that time, it was 2019. I became an ordained pastor in 2017. So, of course, we had mentioned getting married in 2016, which didn't work out because he was still in school, somewhere around graduation and all that, so it didn't work out. And after we actually had a date. Yes, it was disappointing. We had a date for 2016, but it didn't work out. So what happened? Yes, on my birthday. Then in 2017, I became a pastor. I was sent to a very remote church in the village, and what happened, that now took all my attention. Yeah. Actually, by the time all these things were happening, now all my energy and focus now is in the church, in doing ministry, Sunday school, women ministry, and there was no space to think about marriage. I postponed the whole thing. Even when he came for introduction that day, I knew he was coming.
She was in town.
But my mind was not focused on the whole marriage thing. I almost missed. I actually came at around 7 in the evening.
7 in the evening.
Yeah, because I was busy. My mind, after 2016, I was not married to the church.
So I kind of initiated it, and when my pastor mentioned, and he was like, the things ran so fast. And I think when we sat down with the man of God, Pastor Martin, I think his voice were activating something in our hearts, in my heart, that I'd never seen it that way. I stopped looking at the funds. I stopped looking at the challenges that we are facing at that particular time. And I think something that came to my heart is like, you know that this is your wife, so you have to make sure that you go and get her. So when I went to our church department, I was served with the consent forms, and then I went and took one of my friends, pastor friend, and I was like, Saturday we are going to Grace's home just to introduce our intentions to the family. I talked to her. She's like, that day she's going to do her hair in town. So we live, they live somewhere in Machakos, in Nguluni, like along Tala, Kangundo. So, but the town is called Nguluni. So it's like 2 hours drive from town. I'm like, why go do your hair? And you know that I'm coming. So we kinda engaged a bit then, and I was like, okay, I'm still coming, because the ministry taking a lot of time. I just noticed that if we don't do this now, I might lose her completely, because ministry has a tendency of consuming you. And I think by the time we do the wedding, it will be a bit too late. Or by the time I express now my intentions now confidently, it might have taken some time. So that's how like when I got the consent forms, I came and took one of my friends and we went home. We found nobody home. And then some few minutes later, Mom joined us. The mom to Grace, Mom joined, and she was like, "Oh, you guys were coming." I'm like, "Grace didn't mention at home that you are coming. I'm coming. You didn't even mention that you had a visitor."
I had mentioned.
So I'm like, "Okay, you're here." So the friend I was with, I was like, "No, we have to wait for Dad. We can't say your intentions here alone." So we waited for Dad. Dad came some minutes later, and then Grace was the last one to come. But yes, we were served some tea, and Pastor Saimo just stood up and mentioned our intentions there. And that's like where all things started. That was the beginning of, that's January 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
I didn't have an answer for a long time, okay, for a few months, why I was not excited until our best couple mentioned something in the Bible that if you wait for something for too long, you become weary. So I think I was weary and I just stopped waiting. So by the time the wedding is here, nothing was exciting anymore. I didn't think, whatever, I was like, he can be serious or not, I don't know. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, I'm okay. I'm doing church and church is doing good. So I don't want to take my attention off something that is growing and start chasing something that's not, I'm not sure about. So that's the main reason I was not too excited about it, or it didn't make me feel.
But the excitement like grew with time. Before you approached the wedding,
it began growing.
No, she didn't think I was serious, because you know, remember what we said, like 20. By the time we were being friends, we had planned for 2016, and then now this is like 3 or 4 years later. Yeah, 4 years later. And that 2016, the reason was I was let me just finish school. I got consumed. So when I joined school, also in line with what you've been doing. When I joined school, I also became a pastor, because I became the campus pastor for the school for like 3 years. So also this time, when she was finishing, almost finishing interior design, I was serving. So it was my time to say, you know, I can't focus on wedding right now, 2016. I have to serve well. And I think yesterday I was mentioning to some guys, like 2016, it was my final year of serving in the campus ministry. And I was like full activated mode. I was like ministry. So that's why I said ministry as a way of consuming you, and you focus on that. So when she was ready to get married, I was focused on ministry. I'm like, my guy, I can't do that now. But after that, when I was almost ready, she was now fully ordained into ministry. So ours has been a balance of different timings and ministry. But remember also, because long courtship, we don't really advise and advocate for long courtship. And for us, we didn't court for long. We are like, if this thing happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, please, when you get a guy, remember what I had mentioned earlier, because I also felt it kind of both weird us out, but I also felt, because by that time I was not sure that I'm going, until I met Pastor Martin and we spoke, and he spoke some sense into me, because I was also I also felt her weariness. And I had mentioned to a couple, I think 2 good friends that are close to me, I'm like, now I think I've taken too much time. As much as we are not courting, you know, I know Grace, she's into me, but I've taken too much time. If good person, serving, loving the Lord comes my way, I will actually be the chairman of that committee and make sure that this wedding happens very fast, because I think I've taken too much time. And I think it was a place of us just getting worn up, but I think God's time was the best.